Hello and welcome to another edition of Paul's Southern Victory Garden. Did you know that about 90% of the problems you may be experiencing with the plants in your garden can be tied directly to the soil? Stick around and let me take you through what I did to have my soil tested to find out what was going on below the surface. I recently attended a class at my local county extension office on soil testing and weed identification. I have an app on my phone that I use for weed identification, and so far it's been fairly accurate, so I'm not too concerned about that portion of the class that I attended. But the main reason I went to the class was on the part about soil testing. I've been gardening for about 14 years and I have never had my soil tested. I've usually had pretty good results in my garden. A lot of times not as good as I had hoped, but I never blamed the soil. I still don't blame the soil. I blame the gardener. After all, it's my responsibility to make sure that the soil that I'm growing my plants in has everything it needs to nourish those plants. There's a saying in the gardening community that we feed the soil feeds the plants. So my local county extension office through the University of Florida offers two kinds of testing. They offer just a pH test for your soil, which is free, or they offer a comprehensive nutrient test of the soil with pH. It's about $5 per sample. I currently have about 8 raised beds, and I sent in samples for all of them to find out what was going on with my soil. So let me take you through the process and show you what I did to get those soil samples to the lab so that they could test them. Hey, video editor Paul here. Just wanted to let you know that while editing this video, I accidentally deleted the portion of the video where I show you how to take the soil samples. So bear with me, hang loose, and let me show you how to get a soil sample. So you're going to need a few tools. You're going to need a trowel to take the soil sample. You're going to need something to measure the amount of soil. I use one of these mixing cups from a big box store. You can find them in the paint department. You're going to need something to dry the soil out in. For that, I just use an aluminum pie pan. I place it on top of the refrigerator or the dryer, wherever it's convenient. After that, you're going to need some forms to fill out, either the pH or the comprehensive test. After the soil is dried and the form is filled out, you need to seal it up in something to send it off to the extension office. I just use a paper lunch bag. I mark on the bag what bed that it came from, and then of course a mailing envelope to mail it off to the extension office. When you're taking your sample, I just move the mulch aside. And what I want to do, I want to get underneath the first layer of soil here. I want to get down into the root zone. So I want to get down about 6 inches into the soil and put it in my container. Once I've got that sample, then I can put it in my pie pan to dry out, put it in my paper bag, fill out my paperwork, and send it off. So just make sure you get down into the root zone when you take your soil sample, because that's where all the magic happens with the plants. I mean, the top surface of the soil is going to be okay, but you really want to get down to where the root zone is, because that's where the magic happens, where the nutrient intake is, and where the plants are feeding from. So now, in the example that I just gave of getting a soil sample, I just showed you one scoop out of this rather large bed. This bed is 16 feet on a side. what I would actually do and what I did when I sent the actual soil sample in, I actually took a sample from that side, from the middle over here, and over here. So I actually took 3 samples from this bed. In the case of beds like this, I did the same thing. I did one from here, and one from the end. What you want to send in is a cup of soil. So about 1/3 of a cup out of each location is enough. And I did that for each one of the beds that I sent in. So now you've got the information on how to go about doing a soil sample. And I highly recommend it for everybody that has raised beds like this or any kind of gardening where you're struggling with the plants and you don't know what's going on. Like I said, the secret to success in the garden really is the soil, because the soil is feeding the plants. I really hope you got something out of this video that'll help you in your garden. I know it's going to help me in mine. It's given me more education, and education is power in the garden. Education is also another form of victory in a garden, and as I like to say, any day in the garden is a victory. Until next time.